You're listening to the Gab Street Podcast, Columbus, Ohio's #1 podcast for underground talent. Every week we have new conversations with interesting individuals who contribute to the Columbus economy and its lively culture. You may find just what you're looking for right in your backyard. Let's get right into it. We're back with the Gab Street Podcast. You've been here every week, every Wednesday morning, hearing that #1 podcast for underground talent in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
We're here with your favorite co-host, as usual.
Zay Krypto.
Give me those podcast ad-libs. It's a special episode today. We got two very unique individuals with us here today. We have Nova.
What up?
Young
Nova in the place to be.
And we have Dr. Rawls.
Wow. Oh, man.
J Rawls.
What's going on, y'all? We at Gab Street. My man, Cory Leo.
We all here. Yes.
Let's get it.
Thank you for coming out today. We just got some questions to line out. Make sure the people understand what the city's about.
Definitely.
How you contribute to it. And let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
How'd you guys find each other?
We know. Bless him with the story, man. It's not really that.
Yeah. So it was actually Record Store Day.
Yes.
2016.
Is that when it was?
I want to say it was 2016. I could. Yeah, it had to be.
Okay.
And I was doing a show in the record store.
Yes.
It was what was it? Used Kids.
It was Used Kids. It was at the old location.
Yeah, at the old location, right off High.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, we was just rocking the show.
Who was you rocking with?
The homie Soul Son.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, shout out to Soul Son.
The whole crew was crazy.
Yeah, right. And we sitting there rocking. All of a sudden, J Rawls walked in, and we knew who he was. So I looked at Soul Son. We sitting there ripping. I look at Soul Son like kind of nice, like yo, it's Dr. Rawls in the place. And then we just turned it up, man. And every now and then I would see him stop and kind of like look up at the stage. And then you look at me, I would look at Soul Son, I'd be like, yeah, we ripping. We got him.
Killing it. I walked in because I was DJing later on for Dominique LaRue. Shout out LaRue.
Oh.
And I was DJing for her at the record store. And but I'm a digger. Like I go to the record store every week. Mm-hmm. Beat digger. That's what I do. So I get there early because I want to dig some. Going through, seeing what they got, looking for drums. And that's what we'll talk about later. But and I heard the beats, man. That's what caught my ear first, man.
Yeah,
is them beats, man. The beats was the samples, the drums, everything was just right. And I was like, who are these dudes? I don't know them. Why don't I know them?
Right.
I had a problem with that, so I was like, yeah, I gotta meet them, and that's really, so it's not a special story. It's just how it happened, and Nova was. I talked to him because he was the one spitting and the rhymes was right. And I was like, man, who are y'all, man? Tell me, because I was trying to figure out, was it a crew? I'm the type, especially in Columbus, I like to see crews, like young crews coming up because I think there's power in numbers. And I think that's what really hyped me up at first. It was like, yo, is this a crew coming? Mm-hmm. And then I got to talk to you and I found out like y'all work together, but it wasn't really that same thing until I found out more about the Rawls formation and all that. And that I was like, that I really get behind. But that's all it was. So that's it. From day one, it was me recognizing talent.
Oh, yeah. I think I also met Nova at Used Kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was at Senseless's release party for, Whatever EP.
Okay.
You remember that?
I think so. Was it on 4th Street?
No.
4th
it
Street
was,
Used Kids?
This was in, January 2017. So this was
to the new spot.
Yeah, this was the Summit one.
Okay, Summit, that's right.
Yeah. And it was me, you, Shad Jones, shout out by the way.
Right.
And it was I think Senseless was showing us too or something like that. And you thought I was 27 when I was 17 years old.
Oh my God.
Oh, word.
So thank you.
Got it.
Wow.
Much appreciated.
Right.
But that was a dope time. I also met Milo that day.
Okay, yeah. So that was I was thinking, Milo was in town and we did a show right next door at the
Rumba.
Right?
Yeah.
Cafe.
That's right.
And I will remember Milo for the rest of my life because whenever he would dab me up, he would snap while my hand was in his hand. And so it was really
You
fucking...
weren't used to that, yeah.
It blew my mind. I was like, you can do that? Is that legal?
Okay, I see what you mean. Like,
No, it was like this. So he would
like
dab me
that,
up and then
it's like-
snap while I was in there.
Okay, right.
I was like, I feel like I've been blessed with magic or something.
You seen a spark after? Like, damn.
It's like he transferred some of his powers into me.
Yeah, shout out Milo, man.
Yeah, man.
That was dope. Yeah.
We
know how you met. What do you guys do, first of all? And why do you work together?
You said, what do we do? Like, as far as, like, living? Or, like, why do we work? Like,
what do you do together that,
Oh.
like, what did you do independently at first
Got it.
that brought you together?
got it. I mean, well, as I was a producer, so I did, but I rapped every once in a while, but...
He got bars. Huh?
Come on, man, every once in a
got
while.
bars.
Man, but no, I met him as a rapper, but he gave me this CD called Innovate, right?
Yeah, that was it.
Dear God. And I played it and I was like, yo, I mean, the lyrics, man, but the beats. And I was like, you did these beats? That honestly, man, that blew my mind because the beats blew me away as much as the lyrics did. So I was like, I knew that he was somebody I wanted to work with. It's kind of the same like when I met P Black that I met through Veda. You know, both of them to me was like the next level of the next up and coming of, you know, Columbus hip hop. Yeah. And that's how I see you and Trig like that. Y'all have it right now and y'all are that next level. So that's what made me want to work with them and want to work with Nova specifically because his music was just, it was refreshing to hear somebody still cared about, you know, drums and the beats and the samples and lyrics that said something, not like I could understand his lyrics. I was like, oh, that rhymed and oh, that made sense. And like I had to listen to some things a couple times to get it. Like that's what I like. Like I don't get it on the first try. Like I got to listen a few times like, oh, like
like Lil Pump, you're just like, oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
like I get it now.
Yeah, so
you don't have to tell me twice.
So that for me, that's how I knew. Like, yeah, he's the man.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and in that record specifically, Innovate, I wanted to create that replay value.
Okay,
you know,
so you did that on purpose.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, replay value is important.
Yeah, man.
That's what separates my favorite artists from the artists I kind of like.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's like you get the tip of the iceberg, and then you can kind of delve in. But yeah, I ended up producing. So it was 10 or 11 tracks, and I did all of them but one. And yeah, man. I mean, I just was going through beats, and I was like, nah, these don't really fit what I'm going for. So I was like, you know what? Let me just try making my own.
Wow,
you know?
really?
Yeah. And so yeah. That's
Oh yeah.
What were you using to produce the instrumentals?
For that record, it was most of it was on MPC.
Okay.
And then I switched and got a machine. Made a machine.
That's a bit old school for me.
MPC.
Or is it machine? Which one?
Like I use Fruity Loops on a computer. I'll just like use the mouse.
This is hardware.
Yeah, I'm not used to hardware. I've had the software my whole life.
Oh my gosh.
Well, machine is both. Machine combines the hardware with like a dope software.
Yeah. I really want to get one of those eventually, just because I think you can put a lot more soul into your percussion, everything, just using.
There's nothing like tapping it out with your fingers. Yeah, that is next level. But yeah, we'll get to that right.
I just use Audacity to make beats. I'll be completely honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
But a lot of people give me shit for that. Oh well, it works for me. It's alright. I like the precision of it personally. You can just zoom in to like billions of a second or whatever.
Yeah,
just align the percussion.
You can't mix it.
Well, that's why we got Luke Chioka.
Okay, shout out Luke Chioka.
Shout out Luke, just like the last episode. Still working on that shit.
I'm gonna get you on FL eventually, man.
Okay.
You just wait.
Okay.
I'm gonna buy it for your birthday one day. Just force you to use it.
Hey.
Yeah, if it's a gift, then I have to.
Be a monster at it.
All right. I'm waiting.
Yeah, one day. Once I get this money.
So, As a duo and in a working relationship, making music together, what are some ways that you help keep each other motivated? How do you work off each other the best within that dynamic? What are some habits that maybe you foster in each other? Keep you going?
I mean, to be honest, you want me to start it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to be honest, I've done a lot of albums, like one-on-one albums with others. John Robinson, Declaim, Middle Child. I mean, so many. Like, I got an album with Elder Sensei. Just so many different artists. And what I found that works best to me is letting it just flourish naturally. So, like, our process when we were recording, there was never a rush. Like, and I specifically made sure that Nova knew, like, if we were about to record and we just weren't feeling it, then we just would sit and listen to music, or we would just sit and build or talk about life. How's everything with with your family? How's life? And it makes it a non-pressure, organic experience. And I think you get better records, you get better albums that way. Like, the timetable and all that stuff. Like, when I first started recording in the 90s, there was always a time crunch, because when I first started recording, we had to go and pay for the studio. There wasn't none of this sitting at home stuff. None of that existed. So we would practice and memorize and do everything at home, get everything all ready and everything, and then go to the studio and lay everything within 2 hours or 3 hours, because that was the budget. You're paying $25, $30, or $50 an hour, and you're young, you don't have that, right? Yeah. So that's why I really stress not stressing when you're recording. So it was very organic. Like, when we recorded, we felt the vibe, we felt each other's presence, and we just got it in. I mean, did you feel that way? Or
for sure. And one thing I would do was, I had like a little setup at my house. So I would even demo them out first, and just so that way when I did hit the studio with Rawls, like, it wasn't just from scratch. It was like I had already went through a few recordings. I kind of know what I want to do, so that way, not that I'm not trying to waste your time, but I'm trying to curate and culminate something that is better than just going from ground zero up.
That's dope.
Sometimes we did go from ground zero up.
Sometimes we did, because we created right there on the spot. But that's a great point, because as you think about young people, like, it's about honing your craft. So basically, before he even got to me, and I didn't know this, before he even got to me, he knew the lyrics, he knew how he wanted to spit it, because he just always, and it made him come off as professional to me. It made him come off as, oh, this dude is on it. But you practiced it, you refined it, and that's important. That's dope.
It's just like the Abraham Lincoln quote, sharpening the axe before cutting the tree.
Exactly.
Notice that the most successful people usually incorporate that into their professional lives. Like that. Do you have something you want to say?
Shout out to Abe Lincoln, though.
Right, man.
Yeah, shout out real quick.
That shout in. That was a good one.
I wanted to ask you how the change in technology has affected your workflow, and what new technologies are you the biggest fan of, and what are some things that you just would rather didn't exist?
I love that question, because you're going to probably be shocked by my answer. All right, so real talk, I am as old school as they come. I still use the Ensoniq ASR 16.
I don't even know.
ASR 10. Sorry, I was doing the EPS 16. That's what I started on, the Ensoniq EPS 16 Plus. But I got the ASR 10 in 1994.
And you still use that?
Still use that exact same one. So my machine is way older than you. And that's what I still make my music on, because I think it gives me a certain feel. It's kind of like what we mentioned, we kind of alluded to earlier, like when you're hitting buttons and hitting pads or hitting keys, it gives you the sense of creating. For me personally, like, I can't just click. I see how people do that, and it's dope. I look at them like, wow, how you do that? So what you do is like, wow to me. I sit and look. But for me, I gotta
That's funny because that's how I feel. The way what you do, that's like, I wish I could do that.
And it's always greener on the other side, right? The grass is always greener. But for me, so I don't use any new technologies. I use Pro Tools, which is probably one of the oldest DAWs, but it's like the industry standard.
So you use that for your mixes?
I use that to sequence, to mix, and I can record in it. So I do everything in it. But then when I go to any studio in the world, everybody has Pro Tools.
Yeah.
So that is why I kind of adopted it. But I've used Logic, I've used Ableton, I've used some of these others. They just don't do it for me.
Yeah.
I like the MPC Renaissance, although I haven't really had time to sit and learn it, or the Machine. Like I watched him or Rob Riley use the Machine and use some. It's dope, but I just haven't. I'm still on the ASR because it does it for me.
Yeah. So forgive my ignorance, but so you're just like taking the samples and then like you find a dope sample, whatever, and then you just like layering things on top.
Chop it up, yep. And then I play over it. I have a bass that I play.
Okay.
And I have a Fender Rhodes.
That's dope.
So I play instruments over those. So my whole making beats is always sample based.
Yeah.
Because I'm a hip hop dude. That's where I come from. So I'm always chopping something up, and then I take it and reorganize, refine, whatever I got to do to come up with something new.
That's dope.
And one such song potentially made with that sampler was the theme song for this show.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, wow. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is fun.
And that is a beat probably made the year you were born.
Damn.
Really?
Damn.
Time tunnel? Wow.
That's like 97, 98. Because I did that beat for Last Emperor. I originally did it for him when he was signed to Interscope.
Okay.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That's history right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, all of this is history.
Right. It's funny because I got a new one from a buddy of mine that was on episode 3. And as I was splicing it together to make it the next theme song, I get a message from Nova. It's like, me and Rawls want to come on. I was like, shit.
Yeah. Got it.
But we still use the song for like the sponsorship like center portion. So it's still playing. You're gonna have a sponsor segment in the next episode or this episode.
Hopefully,
you're gonna hear it in a little bit here. About 12 minutes now.
I actually, as of this moment, I don't know what I'm gonna say, so I'm gonna figure that out. And then when you hear this message, it'll be me from the future having something really cool to tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But my debut project is dropping December 1st, so
Hell yeah.
Okay.
check that out.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but I remember back in like January of this year, I shoot Rawls a message on Instagram. I'm like, hey, I really like this song off of 1998. Was it? It's 98, right?
Yeah. That's 98.
Is it cool if I use this for something podcast oriented? And he was like, it was just a one-word answer, yes. It was like, score, let's go. I took a screenshot of it. I'm like, this is what I got.
All good.
And then the show started a month later, and that's what we used for a good 37, 36 episemdes, something like that.
Man, it's crazy that we've almost, this has been up for almost a year now.
Yeah, we're at about 8.5 months.
That's good.
So
that's good. Keep pushing.
Yeah, right.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Never stop.
Yeah.
It's gonna be sweet.
That's it. Yeah.
So while we're on the topic of creating music with samples and stuff like that, let's talk about the EP.
Let's do it.
What is comprised in this EP? What's it all about?
The EP is Nova and I at our best, I would say. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna let him explain the inspiration. Mm-hmm. The Khalil Gibran. That's yo. So it's called The Prophet. Profit. But it's based on the Prophet. Prophet.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Nova, man.
Shout out Khalil Gibran.
Man, crazy. I read that book after because I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
Also, excuse the cat in the background.
Yeah, the cat's trying to get in. Man.
Right.
He's my interim co-host for a little bit.
But we'll be sneezing.
Like
it's
dope shit going on.
Let me in. It'd be bad in here. Like that's true.
Yeah.
It'd be bad.
That's true.
Yeah.
But please drop this knowledge on us.
Yeah. So, have you ever read the book, The Prophet?
No.
I have not.
Okay. Yeah.
I like books. So what's it about?
It's like a book of like prose poetry, and it just goes through all these stories and like different topics, and it like includes kind of loose narrative in it as well. But I read it, I want to say about 1.5 years ago, and ever since then it just kind of keeps popping up. Like it just kept showing up like everywhere.
Yeah.
So
The Prophet. Who's that by?
Khalil Gibran.
Khalil Gibran.
Yeah, Khalil Gibran.
Oh, Khalil.
Yeah.
Khalil Gibran. Okay.
It's KHALIL.
KHA.
GIBRAN, I want to
That's
say.
it.
Ah, okay. Khalil Gibran.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, that sounds like something I might want to read, man. I love books.
Check it out, man.
And
it's an easy read.
And every story, every prose, they start off with on something, right?
Not necessarily, but pretty close.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness! The ones I
just
saw, the ones I would repeat.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's funny because actually an episode of the Boondocks put me on to The Prophet, the Khalil Gibran joint, because I think it was Granddad. He was like, Huey, say something deep in one of the episodes, and he quoted a poem from Khalil Gibran's The Prophet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I looked into it, and I was like, damn, like this is some deep stuff, and it just really inspired me to not only read the whole book, but do more writing, like I was writing poetry since I was like 8, so
yeah,
I kind of just wanted to make it a sound, make that poetry just, make it a sound. So
I mean, hip hop at its purest form kind of is poetry.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that if Shakespeare was alive right now, he would have been a rapper. Just like, it is poetry, but it's just like elevated to a new level.
I've never heard that before.
Wow.
Yeah. I really truly think that people just they talk down on hip hop just because of what's going on these days, but if you really look into the rhyme schemes and just what they're saying, like metaphors and similes of the experts, the people that are actually good at this, like they're taking what the old poets were doing and just they've made it better.
Yeah.
They made it more complex.
That's the thing, though. It takes y'all's generation, though, to keep that positive vibe about hip-hop going. Let people know why hip-hop is good, because there's always going to be detractors, right?
Yeah.
And it's up to the young people to say, no, this is why it's good. And as long as y'all keep doing that, it'll keep going. Because when I was young, people said hip-hop was only going to last for a couple years. It's not going to be here. It's not, and we see that is incorrect. And I think it's going to be here even longer because of young people such as yourselves. Like, you actually give a damn and you care about like what is good and what's important to you. So
I think the problem is we need more education on the history of hip hop.
I agree.
Like, people don't even know that. I've been listening to
all day, right?
Shout out to Super Duty Tough Work, because they've educated me a little bit on the history, but it's just crazy how much it's changed, because like hip hop these days, in the mainstream at least, is just like talking about like selling drugs and all this foul shit. But back in the day, it was like, stop the violence,
See, here's the
stop
thing.
taking these
here's
drugs.
The thing. That's because you hear that all the time. That's what the machine wants you to hear.
Oh yeah.
See, that's the thing, and it's about searching and finding what else is out there, not just taking what's given. Like in a Matrix, when they had the little baby in the thing, and they were feeding the baby dead, right? It's like not taking the dead parts of what's already there. Go find hip hop that speaks to you.
Yes,
and the thing
always.
is, when like you said back in the day, everything was out there because they hadn't figured out what to monetize, what to put out there just to make the money. And so nowadays that's been figured out. They know what's going to sell. So the sex, drugs, violence sells. I mean, just like a movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Your top movies are going to be, that kind of thing. So that's what sells. But, that's not the only part of hip hop that's out there. There's so much.
I agree.
It's like but they hit the dope shit, so draw relevance.
Man,
you know?
Yeah.
wow, we're quoting lyrics.
Real shit.
Quoting lyrics from the album. Yes, and back to the album. Every song is called On Something. So we got On Life, On Dope, On Spitting, On Brotherhood, on different topics about like kind of like life, right?
Yeah.
But oh man, Nova killed it, man. I'm excited.
Dude, from what I've heard from you over the past few years that I've known who you are, like this is gonna be top notch shit. Like I'm so excited.
Yeah,
for
I think it is.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
We just got the finished video today from Charles Ewing.
Shout out
Got
to
the visuals.
Shout out
we got
to
the
you.
finished video. So when we actually drop, we're gonna, my plan, what I'm thinking is, and me and Nova still gotta chat it out, but we're gonna re-drop On Spitting video just to make sure everybody saw it, and then the next week we're gonna hit you with it's On Brotherhood. That's the next one. Woo, woo.
Yeah.
And hit you with that video, and then we're gonna come with the album, drop the album. We're gonna do a nice big celebration here in Columbus, y'all gotta make sure y'all come out, man.
Please.
Hell yeah.
We would love to.
Definitely.
Yes. Hell yeah. Oh, I'm so excited.
We're excited.
So, is it just you two? There are no other features on it? It's just you two as a full
No,
thing?
that is incorrect. There are features.
Yeah.
It still got
We
big.
got
Big
three.
guests.
Ooh.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Plus K Holmes was
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
His musicianship was definitely
Definitely
took it
set
to another
off.
level.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, so we got Blue.
Ah,
from
yeah.
Cali. We got Blue on it, and we got OC from NC.
Oh, he's dope.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
though, I found out about him through a project that they did together, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
I love their performance at 2x2.
Oh yeah, that's
That's
right.
kick ass.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They always kill it, man.
Oh yeah.
We ride into a future that seems so unclear, but I swear we came here.
So he's from NC, but we're from Columbus.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you guys. I figured you'd have a bit more of an educated perspective on this question. What makes Columbus a unique city to work in as independent or non-independent artists?
For me, I feel like it's just wide open. I feel like you could just do whatever you want, That's why I like it. But that's also kind of why there's kind of a hold on you too. I feel like we're not like seen as this huge music mecca like a lot of places are.
We're not as restricted by what sells.
That either, So it's just like this balance that I don't know. It's pretty dope, honestly, if you ask me. Like you got somebody like J Rawls living in the city. A lot of people might not even know Rawls is in the city.
Nah,
so
they
like,
don't.
and then you just I don't know. It's just the balance makes it so unique. Between it kind of like not being that mecca for really anything, and then that lends to so much freedom in your art.
It's very unique. Columbus is also an extremely diverse city, I think. That probably lends to it.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's Columbus has always been home. When I was first getting my career started, a lot of people told me I should move to New York or LA, but I thought about my kids first, and I really wanted to raise them here, so I never left. And for me, I think it was the best decision for me. Number one, like you said, it does give you the freedom to kind of do what you want, but by the same token, it makes it difficult because this is not an entertainment city. And a lot of times it's difficult for us as a city to claim an identity. I think as long as I've been doing this, I think that's to me the biggest issue. It's like Columbus doesn't really have an identity. So you got your gangster, you got your Midwest, you just got so many different styles here of what people do. And I think that also helps because it's like you kind of can do what you want. So if that's what you're feeling, that's what you do. You're not necessarily tied to like what people do in Atlanta, or you're not tied to what people do in New York. You do you. I think the other thing that I would like to see here, and I've talked to Blueprint about it. I've talked to like Copyright. A lot of the cats have been doing this here for over 20 years. We'd like to see more people support what's coming out in the city.
Yeah.
I think that's been our issue. Like, you get somebody that comes from Columbus and we got a movement going, everybody doesn't get behind them. And that's what I'm waiting to see. That's why I always tell you about Rawls formation and that kind of thing. I think y'all need to move as a unit and keep getting the city behind you. So everything y'all do, everybody should be included. And try to like keep pushing it so that everybody in the city starts elevating you guys up. I think once we do that, because think about New York, LA, that's what they do.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you get Biggie's so dope because New York pushed Biggie. You know, Pac is so great because Cali pushed him. They's like, he's dope. They told us he's dope. So we was like, okay, he's dope. Right? So it's like, if we tell them, yo, Trig, Nova, they're dope, and we start pushing that, then the surrounding areas will start saying, oh yeah, they dope.
They are dope.
And then you know, the New York, everybody will eventually catch on. I mean, think about it. If I go to New York right now and I listen to Hot 97, all I hear is Southern rappers. All you hear is people from Atlanta and that's all you hear, right? Right? But it's New York, the mecca of hip hop. But everybody got behind them and said, nah. Yeah. Migos is dope. Everybody said Lil Yachty and Lil this and every Lil that you got, anybody named Little is dope. Right. So New York said, oh yeah, they're dope. Yeah. And they start playing them. That never happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You know, that just didn't happen. So what I'm saying is, if Columbus gets behind, like y'all got Gab Street, this is dope. Because if you guys keep pushing and telling people like this is good Columbus hip hop, then people will start saying, oh yeah, this okay.
That is dope.
And that's how it works. So we've got to get behind ourselves.
That's saying, I want to give it to Abe Lincoln, but I'm pretty sure it's not him. It's a high tide raises all ships. You know, so like getting everybody to support, and everybody gets bigger.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
It only makes the whole city that much bigger.
Right, yeah.
Because that's what happened with Compton. If you think about it, all you had to do back in the day when NWA came out, and I know this might be a little before your time, but when NWA came out, anybody that said Compton in their name or like Compton's Most Wanted, straight Compton, so many different whatever. If you said Compton, people were like, oh, that means it's dope.
Right. Yeah.
That's all it was.
It became associated with
I believe it.
Quality.
Yeah.
That's really what it was.
Yeah.
So we got to make Columbus become that.
Yeah.
You hear Columbus, you're like, oh, I got to listen.
This is going to be something good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And we even took it a step further and just said Ohio. You know, because, I mean, you could get Cleveland, Cincinnati. You can grab all of that and just, if we all elevate, we could be the next Mecca.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm wearing a nerd shirt right now under this sweatshirt. So I fuck with Raw Formation. Yeah, man. Let's go.
Shout out to Rod. Shout out Raw Formation. Yes, sir.
Shout out Trig now. Shout out all those guys.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope. We are at about half an hour.
Okay.
So we're going to take a quick break. We'll hear Zay's future message.
Yes.
From the time machine. And we will be right back.
Hey guys, this is Zay Krypto, here to tell you about my debut project Liftoff, dropping December 1st. This is the culmination of the past 3 years of my life put into music. It's a short EP, but it's my first time writing to my own instrumentals. My production skills have improved immensely this year, and this is just a taste of what's to come. In this project, I tried to display my versatility and express my innermost thoughts and feelings. I also want you to get a better sense of who I am as a person. Music has been such a huge influence in my life and has given me purpose when I had none. I want to create music that gives people strength, and I'm hoping that you'll find something in my music that makes you feel less alone. I have a very eclectic taste in my music, so it's hard for me to pin down what my style is. However, if you like hip-hop, rock, or experimental music, then this EP is for you. Look for Liftoff on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, and all other major streaming platforms on December 1st. Thank you for your time. Now back to the show.
We're back. Still.
We are back.
Like we never left.
Like we never left. You just heard his future message.
Yes. Was it good? Did I do all right?
Great, man.
Drop a comment down below.
That's funny. Was it good?
Send us a DM. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
We're still on Columbus because that's what we're always on. Because we're here. You know. That's what the show is. Yeah. We talk about Columbus because we love Columbus. Something we all have in common. we've been talking about the city in general as an environment in which artists can flourish and have freedom in. And I wanted to ask you guys how that freedom applies to you and what roles that you play specifically in Columbus and enhancing its culture.
Rose, you want to take
Oh,
the
man.
floor,
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
I think my role personally, and as somebody who has been in the hip hop industry for a couple years,
One or two.
1 or 2 years, I think, like, to me, what I've been trying to do the last probably since P Black's album, the one I did with him called Contemporary Nostalgia. That's one of my favorites too.
That's a great album.
That dude is incredible. Yeah. But ever since then, I've kind of thought like I'm really purposefully working with as many Columbus artists as I can to try to help them grow and get shine. And that's something I'm doing on purpose. Nova is a part of that, where it's kind of like taking what I've had and my blessing and passing it on. And I think to me, like, we as the older guys in hip hop that have been doing it in Columbus for a while, it's our job to kind of educate. That's why we did the educational series at the library, that kind of thing. It's our job to help motivate. That's why we do different things in the city as far as trying to help young dudes get more shine. So that's kind of, to me, my role is helping young artists in Columbus to flourish and to keep the movement going. So that's what I'm focused on. So you'll see more projects with me and other Columbus artists on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I can't wait.
I love collaborations in the city.
Yeah.
It's my favorite shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you, Novi?
Man, for me, I think I'm still trying to figure out what that is for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, really, when I go into a project or even like a song or even like a beat, like I want it to kind of sound different and like almost create like a new lane, and like kind of push creativity and
I feel that.
originality and individuality to like a limit, like, and just to be like vulnerable in music and still like be as dope as you possibly can, like, because you don't have to be, like a lot of people will settle for, okay, well that was good, or, but like to actually try to be dope, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it comes off effortless, but like you really have to try and, do well, and you got to practice, and, so really I'm just in that lane right now, and like, working with Rawls, definitely I'm like, I got to come hard. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You did.
yeah.
That album's crazy.
Yeah. But as far as like, a role, I don't know, I feel like I think I'm too elusive to really have a role right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And that makes sense. I mean, we're at different stages of our lives, so that makes a lot of sense. You should kind of still be figuring it out.
Yeah.
Because you got a lot left to do. A lot.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
makes sense.
Yeah.
True. Oh, yeah. Would you see this as kind of a student-teacher kind of dynamic in any way? Making the album together?
I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely some aspects where, because I'm working with a legend.
Oh,
you know what I
man.
mean? In hip hop, not just in the city.
Man.
Like, I'm working with a legend in hip hop, like, and so, yeah, in that aspect, I'm like, okay, I wanna,
See,
I want you to be proud of the music, bro.
yeah,
You know
and
what I mean?
very,
Like,
very much so. But
Yeah.
I didn't really see it like that because
Yeah.
I saw it more as a collaboration.
Mhm.
Because for me, I learned too from him. Like, I picked his brain about samples and found different things like that I never like. For instance, there was a couple records that he had sampled that I had forever and didn't know that was there. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm learning from you, and I think it's a and here we're getting to my nerd stuff, but Dr. Chris Emden talks about a transactional approach. So when you're teaching, there should be a transaction, not just an interaction. The interaction is, I give you the knowledge and you take that and you go. You're the student. I give you the knowledge. That's not what education should be. Education should be a transaction. When you go do a transaction, each party gets something back. So I give you the knowledge, but I also learn something from you. So we both get something. And that's how I see it. I see it as a transaction. And that's what I got from Nova. I learned a lot. And it rejuvenated me. I got excited about doing music again. At my age, and as long as I've been doing it, sometimes I'm like, I've done that. But like working with Nova, I was like, yo, let's go. You coming over? I'm creating again, and that kept me going.
Yeah. It was also a line in one of the songs. I said Rawls is like my therapist, you know, because like I'm sitting behind this glass in the studio with a mic, and Rawls is sitting there, and I'm kind of like, you know, sharing these things and expressing myself in a way that I normally wouldn't, just in a conversation. So, you know, I thought that was a cool aspect to look at it from too.
Yeah.
I would love to hear more about this transactional theory.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
please go into what you call your nerd stuff. I'm very interested in this. Please.
Well, you know, I mean, I kind of wrote a book with my brother, John Robinson. Shout out JR. Yeah, kind of wrote a book. Because I got my doctorate in 2017. And that was some work. Kicked my butt.
Yeah.
But education, I started teaching in 2002. Like I was kind of telling you guys, I was a computer programmer up until about 2001 when I quit to pursue music and do the essence of. And I was working right across the street. Working over there every day, but I was so unfulfilled, so unhappy. And it got to a point where I did music, but it wasn't like paying all the bills, because if you know anything about music, unless you're a big star, music is very quarterly. You know, BMI and Sound Exchange and ASCAP, all that stuff comes every quarter. It's not, but your bills come every month.
Right.
So it's like, wait a minute, something's not working. So I had to figure something out. So my cousin had suggested that I try teaching, and I went into education, and I fell in love. Started teaching, and I knew like very early on that, okay, I had to get my master's in education and then the doctorate. So when I got the doctorate in education, I basically started using my philosophy with hip hop and understanding that hip hop is a cultural thing. I just got off the phone with Wordsworth. Shout out Words. That's my brother.
Saw him at 2x2 years ago.
Yeah, Words is family. And we were discussing, because he's also an educator. He's a teacher. He just got his master's in education. I'm trying to convince him, Words, go get the doctorate. But, you know, he's working with, in a school, and working in the art department. And he's coming from, we think hip hop. So like hip hop is, I've got nothing, but I want to have something. So I got to take nothing and create something, right? That's what we do. That's just, it's a hip hop mentality. It's a hip hop aesthetic. It's what we do. So I apply that to the classroom. So everything I do is I make it based from hip hop culture, and it usually resonates with young people, because what are a lot of young people? They're hip hop. You know, not all of them, but a lot of them are into hip hop. Like, and you can't just look at somebody and say, "Oh, he's white, he wouldn't like hip hop." That don't work. Because you're right. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work. It's a mentality. It's a culture. And like walking in here, I can tell you're hip hop, and I know like the culture, and I know. So then I could relate to you. So I would use that. If you were my student, I would use that and to our advantage. So what I would do is create, build our relationship around that, based off that. And that's what we call youth culture power. And that's really where that all came from, is John teaches, I teach. And we started to notice that we used our hip hopness to relate to our students. And a lot of other teachers were looking at us like, well, little Johnny's, he's a terrible kid. He's bad. How come you don't have no problems with him? I was like, oh, I just don't. I mean, I can relate to him. I can build with him. Yeah, I can sit and talk to him and have a conversation with him, and we can talk about something that he loves, And then I can also talk to him about, okay, I need you to do this rule. I need you to obey that. And he'll listen to me because I've given him that respect of respecting who he is. And that's the difference. So you said talk about the hip hop, the educate. That's all it is. That's the basis of what I'm doing now. And that has kind of taken over. Like right now, I'm teaching at several different colleges, and I'm working toward doing more for advancing education, but not only using hip hop in education, but using youth culture and that kind of thing. Because it also works with, you got a kid that's into skateboarding or into video games. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Take what they love, build with them on it, create that relationship. So now I can teach you. Now you want to learn from me because I respect who you are as a person.
Yeah.
So that's all it is.
Learning from that classroom chatter.
Yeah. That's all we do. That's all we do.
As the bar may go, some educators say they hate it. Some get updated.
You got to change. You can't teach how you were taught. It doesn't work like that. School is not that anymore. It's just not.
Yeah.
How would you say your educational background has influenced the music that you create?
Wholeheartedly, because everything I do now, I do with a thought of this has to have some type of educational value. It's got to have some value to it. Like I don't do songs. I don't know if you know this, and I really never have in my career, but I got some like that. But I don't just do a song that's just about some BS. Like everything I do is about something and it has some type of meaning. And if you listen, if you really take it to the lab, you'll see what that meaning is, whether it's on life. Well, I'm getting my Khalil Gibran. Right. Whether it's on life or on any topic that helps you to be a better person. Like that's kind of my legacy. I even made an album called The Legacy because that is where I am now. Like everything I'm doing is toward advancing young people. And specifically my sons. That's the first thing. I got 3 sons, and everything I do is about them and for them. So I think I look at all young people as like, yo, how can I help this person get to the next level? How can I help them achieve their dreams? And that's what drives me.
Oh yeah.
So you've been doing this for a couple decades now.
Yeah.
Things have changed a lot. It's a lot easier to get on than it used to be. And I'm curious, how many years were you like when you started, when you first ever started making instrumentals, how many years of work did it take before you actually like in a sense were supporting yourself in part through your music?
Wow, that's a great question. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that. I actually started rapping in about 1984 with my man Buka. Shout out to Buka. He just texted me. I'll be over there soon, man. We're about to do some work. Shout out Buka. But I started doing stuff in like 84 with him, and I didn't really start making beats until like in 88. We discovered that people were sampling. Mm-hmm. We were going through my dad's records and we heard some different. It was like, wait a minute, we heard that before. Hold up, and we put the record. And so the night we discovered it was the weekend. We sat up the whole entire night, probably to like 6 or 7 a.m. just going through my dad's records and finding like, yo, that's that sample from Oh Snap, and we was just losing our minds, like, yo, and that's 1988. Right? So we started using those records and we didn't have a sampler or anything, but Buka had the turntables. Yeah. So he went back to back. We go to Robert's Records on Lockbourne. That's gone now. Mm-hmm. But we would go there and dig and find a double copy or find something we knew that had some drums. And he would scratch back to back, boom, and keep the record, keep it going. And we would rap over that. Right. That's how we did it. And before, like if he couldn't find the double, or we'd make pause tapes. So we had a beat, we'd pause it, let it play, pause the tape, record it, and keep it going for 3 minutes or so. Then we could rap. Right. We could rhyme over that beat. We did that with Funky President. We started doing that with everything, like stuff. And that's how we started doing it. And then I realized, I was like, well, maybe I should kind of try to tinker with it a little bit. And so I started officially making beats like in 91 or 92, but using other people's equipment. It's kind of how Camus started.
Okay, so you were actually rapping before you ever...
Oh, yeah. I started out beatboxing first. Okay. That's how I started. And then started rapping with my crew. And then and this is Southside Columbus, just people I grew up with, Dwayne, Buka, Jermaine, Hakeem. That was us. We just did our thing. And then started working with Jamie and when working at his studio on Parsons. Gosh, I'm so Southside. and we were making beats, but I was using his Ensoniq EPS 16 Plus.
Yeah. And
then my man Greg Bates showed me there was a new machine called the ASR 10. And I was like, So he was like, yo, you can go over to, and there was a spot, it was on McNaughton called Royal, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a music store. He was like, you can, what they call finance. I was like, what is that? I don't know what financing is. Right. He was like, man, take your mom over. She signed for you and you just make a payment on it every month. So this was 94. I was in college. So I had trying to start my little credit. Went over there and they let me, and I got the ASR 10 and I paid $60 a month. And boy, I probably paid $3,000 for a machine that was like $1,200 because I was financing it, didn't know what that was. But I guess I made that back, right? But it started from that. So I was using the ASR 10 in 94, and I didn't really start getting love until 97, 98. But it all happened from me working on it, making beats, and then working with everybody in Columbus. Anybody who wanted to rap.
So right around the time I was born, that's when you started getting love.
Yeah, pretty much. But but it really happened in Cincinnati. Right. It really happened in Cincinnati though. I was in college in Cincinnati around that time, and that's when in 94, 95, 96, I started working with Dose One, the 5Ds, Mood, High Tech, working with all these people down there. Yeah. That's what got my reputation going. So it was Cincinnati to where I started growing.
That's awesome.
And people started noticing.
Did you do any work on Cool Motor by any chance?
I did not.
Okay.
I helped them put that together though. That was because they had put a 12-inch out through us. It was us reaching back. Me and Jay Sands, we had a label deal and we put out their first 12-inch and that got them noticed so that they could put out their own music. And they did. That's how they did Cool Motor.
Cool.
Do you remember who was popular back in the day, who like originally influenced you to actually start rapping?
Oh man. I'm gonna say a name, y'all gonna be like, who? Well, y'all might know. Okay, you heard the record Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
Oh, I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's 1984. It's Andre Harrell. He was a rapper before he was the executive at Uptown. He's the one that put Puffy on. He's the one that gave Puffy his first job.
All right.
He was a rapper back then, and it was Dr. Jekyll, and he was Mr. Hyde. And I think I memorized all those lyrics. We actually wrote them down. We got the instrumental, and we put it on a cassette, and we started rapping it. That's how I started rapping. Was doing somebody else's lyrics. I didn't know. And I was like, wait, maybe I could write my own. And then it just went from there.
Nice.
But this is like 4th grade for me. So it was, that was one of my earliest inspirations.
Oh, yeah. Who are your influences?
Oh man,
good question.
I remember I used to print out raps all the time too. It was Below the Heavens by Blue.
Woo!
I would print out some of those and read them and be like, yo, this is crazy.
So that ended up working with him. That's a big deal, bro. To work with somebody that influenced you,
bro. I still can't
didn't know that. That's dope.
Wow. To have a bunch of songs,
right?
It's a blessing for sure. Definitely a milestone. Common was a big influence for me. Just really thought-provoking music that he made, and how just the producers he worked with, and just his sound overall. Ludacris, man.
Wow, yeah, he's incredible.
Word of Mouth was the first record I bought.
Incredible artist.
Yeah. He just brought humor to it, in a way that I had never heard. I'm listening to a record just dying laughing. That's Luda. Man, who else? I would say those are probably my top 3 influences, man.
That's dope.
Yeah.
How did you get into the whole business?
Poetry.
Yeah.
Yep, poetry. So I just started writing poems for whatever reason. And I went to Thurber House of Music. It's like right downtown, like a little poetry house or whatever.
Didn't know.
And I'm like, I'm like 10, 11. It's just a classroom full of probably 10, 11-year-olds all sharing poems.
Wow.
That's so cool.
And I mean, some of these kids like had published poetry, so like it came my turn to share and I just kind of put my head down. I don't want to share nothing, man. These cats is like, I still remember some poems that they shared. But really just poetry, and then I fell in love with beats, and then I started hearing Common, and I was like, oh, I can kind of flow too. I got a little cadence.
What's the first Common album that really got you? Which album? Do you remember? Sorry to be asking questions, y'all.
Please. No, that's cool.
I would have to say probably Resurrection. And then B was crazy.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because the Common album that killed me was his very first one. The one before Resurrection.
Yeah. What, like Water for Chocolate?
Yeah. Nah, that's later. That's for Dilla.
Yeah.
His first album was, I forget what it was called, but it had Penny for Your Thoughts on it. It had Take It Easy on it. Yeah. That was the one. I was like, oh, this dude is everything.
Yeah, man.
But that's dope. Okay.
He's a monster.
It's all good.
Common sense.
Man, common sense.
Yeah. And he's still dope.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. Dream of the Believer was like 2012.
Yep.
That was my album of the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he's still going. I don't know. With hip hop, I kind of worked backwards. Like I got into a lot of the older stuff later on.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes, because you see, I was alive when this stuff came out. Y'all weren't. So you hear something, you like, oh, that's dope. Then you start going back, like, what else did he do? Right. Oh, snap! Then y'all become famous.
I just listened to Public Enemy this year.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Have you listened to It Takes a Nation of Millions yet?
I think that's by Public Enemy.
Yes.
Yes, that's the one I listened to.
That's their second album.
Yeah,
it's not even the first. The second album, it was seminal for them. The first album is incredible, but the second album changed. That's what inspired the video we just showed y'all.
That had so much sampling in it. That changed the game for instrument. Yeah. I was watching this hip hop documentary. I think that's how I got put on to It Takes a Nation of Millions. But actually, that's a good segue into a question I had for you. How have you noticed the copyright laws for sampling change, like from back in the day when you started to present day, when we have AI hunting down people, try to sue them, and when
like iRobot up in this bitch,
like the copyright laws have gotten stricter too. Like it used to be a little more lax back in the day, and I think that's kind of stifled some creativity in producers. How has that affected you?
Stifled a lot, but I'm a sampling artist, so I'm never stopping. Yeah. That's just what I do. It just means that I can't submit a lot of different things. Like I don't get as many TV shows or the things that I've gotten in the past. And that's fine, because for me, it's about the integrity. I sample. That's what we do. I make hip hop beats. Yeah. Hip hop is that. I can't just do the keyboards and a dee 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 dee. I can't. That's not a beat to me. That's like
it's going down.
Hey, I think it was. But it was in my head. But I mean, and it's like that's cool, and that's what people do. I get it, and because you got to have your publishing. I understand that, but for me, the creativity is finding something that you never heard before and flipping it and making you want to go find out what that is. That is hip hop.
Yeah,
that's kind of what you guys are doing when you're like, oh, you talk about common sense or public, and you hear somebody talk about, then you go back and discover it. That's that drive that is missing. That's what a lot of people are missing, because it's not there. If you got ding, 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 there's not. I don't know where that's.
There's like no history behind it.
There's no history behind it, and that is that. The history is what drives you to be like, yo, what is that? Because when you hear a sample or something crazy that somebody chopped, and you hear the original, you get a whole new respect. So now somebody sample Aretha Franklin, you like, oh, I gotta hear every Aretha Franklin song. And now you have an appreciation for Aretha Franklin. And that's what people are missing. Like, yes, I understand it's sampling, I understand copyright, I get that.
Yes,
but James Brown's career was revived because of sampling. You only know who some of these artists are because of sampling.
Yeah, that's what I love about hip hop. It takes from so many other different genres of music. Like, there's nothing else like it.
Nothing.
Hip hop is like the culmination of all music from the
It's
past.
like the offspring.
Yeah, it is.
Like, hip hop would not be possible without all these other genres.
I mean, it's the reason I know rock the way I do, because people started sampling them rock drums, and so I know a lot of rock. I know rock music, but it's only because I went digging and trying to discover it, because somebody chopped up them drums so beautifully. I need to know where they came from. Led Zeppelin, you know what I'm saying? Little Feet. Like, I had to find out, like, who are these people? I need to know.
Even like music that's not popular at all. Like, you sample like a polka joint.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what is this?
I gotta find out more about that.
Yeah, like Brazilian music, and like international music even.
Yep.
Are you guys Doom fans?
Oh my.
Yeah.
With a capital Y? With a capital yes? With a capital Y, yes?
I figured I might as well ask. Wanted to make sure. I remember I was listening to Doom, and I think it was a song off of I don't remember
Operation Doomsday?
Probably Operation, yeah. And I don't remember what the name of the song was, but it was it had this weird, I think it was One Beer or something like that was the song. And it was a really cool beat, and I'm like, I like this. And I went on to a Spotify radio later, where it just kind of throws songs at you that might be similar. And it came up with this weird French jazz music. From like French jazz funk kind of thing from an artist named Cortex.
Oh, yeah.
From back in the 70s.
Of course.
And
that record's $600 because of Doom and Madlib.
Yeah.
Yes, to find that original record is $600. Damn. It's called Tropia Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
And I heard that. I didn't know what it was until like the main part that was sampled kicked in. I was like, what the fuck?
You lost your mind. You lost your mind.
I lost my mind.
Dope how they did it.
So crazy. I'm like, no, I feel like no one else knows about this.
Yeah, I mean, there are people. There's us heads, but the general public misses out on that. And you're right, but that's part of that hip hop culture. And to me, that's why when I teach, when I teach hip hop culture, I teach about digging, because it's that important to the culture. It's that important.
Yeah, it makes your brain feel bigger.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
so cool. Let's see here. We are at exactly an hour.
Perfect.
Yeah? You guys have any final topics you would like to discuss?
I just want to say thank y'all. We appreciate it. The album, The Prophet, Nova, J Rawls. We don't really have an exact date yet. We kind of just free with it, but it's going to come out before the end of 2019. And we're probably, I'm thinking, like, going to be toward the end of the year. And we're going to have a big celebration in the city. And we definitely need y'all to come out. So stay tuned to our Instagrams. J Rawls 82. That's my Twitter, my Instagram. Stay tuned to that, because we'll have all the information at Nova Saves.
At Nova Saves, IG, Instagram.
Yeah.
Hit us up, and we'll definitely mention it in the episode.
Definitely.
In some episodes near it.
We definitely will.
Yeah.
Man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have any extra shout outs to give?
Oh, man.
Shout out to Formation, man.
Yeah,
oh,
man.
yeah.
Raw's Formation.
All day. Yeah, man. Shout out to O Sharp, Storm. I'm all the old school dudes. Spirit. There's a group from Columbus named Spirit that y'all need to really investigate, because y'all would do them justice. They are who influenced me.
Okay.
Yeah, they are one of the early groups that were on the scene here in Columbus, and they did so much for the city. They actually they did my first talent show. They threw. Right. So there's a guy named Storm 9000, Malik Willoughby, Carnell Willoughby. Y'all need to I'm just gonna say it because I know y'all gonna do your homework, because I know I like y'all dudes, man.
Thank you.
Do your homework. Find out who Spirit is, and you guys gotta have them on here and talk about early Columbus hip hop, because I mean, it definitely goes back to before them, but they're some of the earliest that I remember. So that's my inspiration.
That would make it dope.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So now y'all talk to them and find out who was their inspiration.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Then we got a documentary.
We got a documentary. You ready to go?
Let's go all the way back to ancient Greece.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, man. But definitely check out Spirit, man. They're from here. Shout out Copyright. All the people, Blueprint, who have been pushing the city and who actually recorded and stayed here.
Right.
Because that's not easy to do. If you get some success, it's easy to dip.
Yeah.
Like I'm out. But to stay here is a little bit more work. So shout out to everybody that did that.
Mad respect.
For real.
Guys, you'll be joining us again every Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
If you're on that mailing list, you know what's happening for the next 2 weeks. If you're not a real fan of the show.
Getting us.
Just gotta get on that mailing list. You'll know what's happening. Be in the know. Talk about Gap Street with your friends. You'll be seeing the Gap Street shoes and some promo shots pretty soon. It'll be pretty cool.
Maybe some more things coming soon.
Yes, potentially. Some work being done.
We have some work being done.
Oh, yes.
Be on the lookout.
Love it.
Good things.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for gabbing with us this week.
Yeah.
Get it?
We did it.
Yeah, it was great having you guys on, man.
Man, this was fun.
We'll catch you guys next Wednesday morning.
Peace.
Peace.